Welcome and thank you for joining us. The Impact, a place where you can experience impactful information because your experience is your story. I am Dennis Blake, your host and author, two-time Olympian and Olympic bronze medalist. Today I have with me founder, manager, and head coach of the famous Flying Angels Academy, one of the top track and field club in Toronto, Canada. Earl and his team have coached many athletes awarded with track scholarship to various universities in the US, representing Canada at various international track and field meets, including the Olympic Games, World Championships, and many more. Welcome, Earl, to the Impact, where your experience is your story.
The high performance centers in Canada have, considering how popular Flying Angel Academy is, and I'm sure the record is clear that you have produced Olympian athletes, World Championship athletes, and stuff like that. With that kind of bio, have they approached you to be a part of their program?
No, they don't want anything to do with me, man. Reason being, if 10 people sit in an office and spend 10 hours and come up with a plan, they don't want the 11th guy to come in there and try to change everything or tell them their plan is not going to work.
Got you.
I am the 11th guy, right? So you want to hear that. In the national team, they call them the hubs, right? The training center. Their number one female sprinter came out of developed out of high school and went into the training center from Flying Angels. That's their number one, right? She's the one who's been, how many national championships in a row she's won, right?
Mm-hmm.
One other young man just came back from the World Indoor Championships, finished 7th in the 60 meters. And that was a man that when he came to us the previous year, he couldn't even make the Ontario championships, provincial championships. And we developed him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went off to the States, won a lot in the States, and then he came back, and then that was the home for him. So you and I have talked at length at this. So one of the things that we were doing, we were developing them from youngsters, developing them as high schoolers. And then we hadn't put on the professional club stamp on it for the older ones, yet. And that is what we started to do this year with some of our young talented athletes.
Promising, right? Those are
Yes.
promising kids.
We're keeping them in-house as opposed to telling them to go to the National Training Center or stuff like that. I have a more of a hands-on approach to developing them at the next level, right? The ultimate level. No.
Sounds good. We know that there's no substitute for personal experience, right? How do you able to connect with your athlete in a very credible way, right? I know that athletes will tend to learn a lot better when there's a connection. What is it that you do or you encourage your coaches to do that make the athletes want to get up and come to training? They come to training and they want to work because they have that level of connection. What is it? What is that level of personal connection?
I think what it is, Dennis, is that they see when I talk, I don't talk to them, I talk with them, right? And when I talk with them, they see the realness of it. They understand where I came from, and where I come from is not so far from where they are. And they've seen the things that I've achieved. And so when I tell them they can achieve something, then they believe it, right? And we take small little steps. And that connection comes from trust. Between coach and athlete. If the athlete trusts the coach, right? Then they will make that extra effort. If the coach says, do one more 400, man, and if they trust the coach, then it's easier for them to do it. They may not want to do it, but they will do it, right? But if they don't trust the coach, even if the coach says do one more 50 meters or one more 100 meters, deep down inside, they're not going to do it. They're not going to give any kind of percentage for that. So they have to believe in what you say. They have to believe that you care about them, right? And they have to trust. They have to trust in the things that you're saying to them, man. So what it means when I say trust that means you have to live a life or show them a life that is trustworthy.
Yeah, you have to model that type of lifestyle.
Yes.
And cut out the favoritism and all that type of.
Yeah, the favoritism is one of the biggest killers, because you see the same one that you favor today is the same one who's going to come talk against you tomorrow, say you have favorite, right? Because they will see that you have a different favorite tomorrow, right? And then you can't tell them that you don't keep favorites, because they know that once they were your favorites, right? And when you keep favorites, you don't understand that is undermining your future. So I tell my coaches that all the time. You can't have favorites, man. And with me, my athletes know I don't.
No favorites.
Don't have no favorites.
Straight, yeah. All right. Yeah. So this segment, we're gonna close with this segment by asking a question. What are some of the major things that you would, maybe a few things that you would say that your athletes learned from your track and field club? We know, I'm sure there's a host of things that they would have learned, considering the type of person you are, from my own perspective, who I know. But just tell the audience, what are some of the things that they can say, I learned this from being a part of Flying Angel?
The number one thing they learn is never give up. Never give up. Everything that we do, we talk, or our passion is about, never giving up. The secret to success boils down to not giving up. Because you may not know how close you are to that success. But if you give up, then there's nothing can be done for you, right? That is something that I've taken from my life. And from day one, that is something that I've passed on to the athletes. Anything is possible as long as you're able to find a way, right? As long as you're able to find a way, it's possible. And as long as you keep going, there is always hope if you keep going. The minute you stop, the hope stops, right? And that the minute you stop, the hope stops and the regret starts, right? So just keep going, and you're not gonna have no regrets, man.
All right. So we know that, and I agree with you. I believe that wholeheartedly, because, like you said, you can easily lose hope if you stop. And when you stop, it's so hard to really start back. And it takes more work to restart as opposed to just continue. Tell us a little about, let's ask you this question. We know that Flying Angel Track Academy is Canada's most recognizable track and field club, right? The club is well known throughout the Caribbean and the United States for successfully developing track and field athletes of all ages, right? Tell us a little about your club and the type of service that you provide.
So we provide the typical track and field training and competitions, but we also work with athletes, not track and field athletes, right? So we work with the soccer players, the football players. They come in and they get their speed training. We have people coming from different countries just to train with us, right? Yeah, we do. We started up a branch in Trinidad, and we're looking to expand. We're looking to expand that as well to more places in the Caribbean and also in the USA, right? So we're well on to that. But I don't want to announce anything until we get everything signed up. But look for some really good things coming soon, right?
Right.
We also host track meets. And one of our track meets that we host is our International Classic. This year is going to be our 10th edition. Right, we had to break for the last 2 years because of COVID.
Right.
But we have some big names that's going to be coming up for our track meet. High school, big name high schoolers, but it's an all ages track meet. So from the little children all the way up to the open senior athletes.
Okay.
We have that's a big one. That one is July 8th to 10th, and that will be in London, Ontario, this year, where we first started that meet. And then we're looking next year and the years to come to move it more international. So add some different meets in different countries as well. So we have some big things cooking up. While the pandemic was on, we couldn't run, but we stayed there and we were thinking and planning.
Well, you actually was running. You was running with the ideas.
Yes. So we're ready to go with those right now. But with our club, we offer many different things. We do offer private training, right? One-on-one training. We offer team training. We're one of the only clubs in Canada that offers a high performance competitive division, but also a house league division, like they do in basketball, or, where you have the kids who are just trying it out. We train them, they compete against each other, have fun, win their medals, and stick into the sport, give them some joy in the sport, right? And then the more serious ones, we take them. We've traveled all over the Caribbean and the US to compete.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We heard in the Olympics, it was an Italian guy win the 100 meters, and they win the relay, and the Italian guy came back and win the 60 indoors. So I think we're going to take a trip over to Italy sometime soon, and
find out what is his secret.
Yes, find out what's going on over there. So we'll bring the team down there to compete as well. So yeah, we're very open, very multicultural, with our team. So it's just a great experience, man. And like I said at the beginning, it's something that I wouldn't change, man. I wouldn't change, because I'm happy to see where we are.
And talking about wouldn't change. Let me ask you this question. This is a good place to ask you. What was it that prompted you to start the track club, and did you ever imagine that it would be one of the most known track club around?
Dennis, that is another podcast there, buddy. But let me just
give me the short version. Give me the short
version. Is just a young lady. When I was in high school, I met a young lady, and she said she wanted to train for track, right? And I was doing it through my church and whatnot. I said, okay, I train you. And I was training her, and she started winning, right? She started winning. And then I said, okay, you know what? You need to join a track club. So I brought her up to the track and field center. We're interviewing different coaches from different clubs. And while we're trying to figure out which track club that she should join, she was, training with them for a day or two, and she would be beating everybody. And she said, hold on a second here. Any of these clubs I go to, I'm the top one. But when you started coaching me, I was a nobody, right? Why don't you just train me? And from those words, that's how we started. We started the club. That's it, with one athlete, and then it just build up and build up and build up. And then we just started, winning here. So we decided to travel to the States. We would go to Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, all over the place. And it's just different people just keep encouraging me, and I just keep taking one step at a time. So I never really expected it to be this. It's just me taking one step at a time. And every day I wake up, I see what's happening, and that's all I can do, man.
And that's why you wouldn't change nothing that happened in the past.
Exactly.
Because everything worked together for good.
Yeah, just building steps.
So it's obvious that you and your team have produced many outstanding athletes, right? How do you go about choosing your coaches? What are some of the qualities that you look for when you are choosing coaches?
The number one thing I look for is passion, for lack of a better word. We want people who want to make the athletes better, right? meaning that they're willing to spend the time learning the craft of the science and craft of coaching, and they're able to be relatable to these athletes. So in fact, we use a lot of our coaches now that are former Flying Angels athletes. So they were already in the system. They grew up in the system, and it's something that they want to do when they come out. They want to give back to their community. They want to help the youth the same way that they were being helped when they were coming up. And I think that's why we're so successful, because the people that we have in it have been in it for a long time. Yeah, from their youngsters, they come through, and that's just to tell you how long I've been in it, eh? That they were
Don't worry.
youngsters.
Don't worry, I won't ask your age.
All right, you see? Yeah, they come back, and I would say at least half our coaches are former Flying Angels athletes.
Fantastic. All right, so we're gonna pick it up a little bit here, but this question I have to ask you, considering that you have created a successful club, right? Have you ever been approached by the Canadian government how they could be a part of your club's success, or perhaps taking control of your program?
I've had the association sit down with me and talk to me about how they can acquire my membership, the number of kids in my club, because it's more advantageous for them, because not all my athletes are members of the association. What I have done, I've created my own association as well. So I sanction some of my meets, right? The majority of my meets, I sanction myself. I have my own insurance. We have our own structure, right? With that, and they want a part of that because they see how it's going to grow. So not the government per se, but the associations, right? Want me to work in hand with them to help them. But I realize it's something that will help them to be better, right? Not helping me. You remember the story I told you about the football? When the reason, what I learned from that is not everybody who comes up to you and says, you should trust them, they have your back, that you should believe in and walk with, because the minute you do something that they don't agree with, then you're gone, buddy. Right? So it has helped me now. So when the association or different people come to me and say, hey, we should do this, do that, or whatever, I look at it and say, you're telling me something that benefits you, but there's no benefit for me. So the success that we have with our athletes, we want to build upon that success, but I think it is better for us to control that as opposed to letting the association control that for us.
I agree. So I'm gonna ask you some, because we actually moving here on time, right? So I gonna have to maybe, let's see, what does winning mean to you? Because winning for many athletes mean different things. What does winning mean to you as the founder of Flying Angel Track Club?
You know what? Winning to me as the founder of Flying Angels it's not the goal, it's not the medals, right? It's looking at an athlete who, when they first come, believe they cannot achieve anything, or who people have told them that they can't achieve something. And to see these athletes set a goal, work towards it, and achieve that goal. There's nothing better than when people talk bad against you or tell you you're nobody, or, nothing, and you achieve something and you're able to turn back to them and don't curse them. You turn back to them and you smile, because you realize that, look here, against all odds, even you didn't believe that I would achieve it. And look at me now. That's what we work with these athletes thing. That is what real winning means to me. Achieving something that one time you didn't even really believe it or only you did believe it. That's it.
Very good. So I'm going to step back a little bit, but let me ask you, have you been recognized by Canada for your great contribution to the development of professional athletes? I give me the short version.
I'll give you the short version, right? No.
Okay, so that's the shortest version you can give me.
Yes,
Yes.
no, I have not. I have not. I'm not begging for it,
Right.
right? It would be nice, but no, they haven't recognized me yet.
Yet. I like the keyword. Yet. Yet. So we know it's coming, and we know that somebody is going to see this podcast or this YouTube channel, and it's going to wake them up at night.
Yeah, and you know what, Dennis is. I'm not even looking for the recognition.
No, you don't have to. No, but I mean, it goes without saying. You know, I think it was Martin Luther who said it's always nice to be recognized. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. But let us move on. There's a major push, right, to get transgender to compete in major/international meet, and we know they would have had to hone, their craft before competing on the international scene. What is your take on that for where the sport seems to be heading or wanting to head? Is that something that you agree with, that transgender should be running in the same race, same event?
It's something that I've been so busy doing my thing, staying in my lane, that I haven't studied it well enough to make an informed answer to that question.
Okay, I understand, but I can tell you that I don't agree with it. But again, I can't interview myself, so I have to wait until somebody.
I'm gonna interview you and say Dennis said it.
So do you believe athletes make good role models?
I think good role models make good role models. Okay. Athletes are very visible, so a lot of people look up to them as role models, right? But anybody can be a role model. Anybody, the closest person to you should be your role model. If you ask my son, my sons will tell you that I am their role model, or at least I strive to be their role model, right? So athletes can make a good role model, but not all of them.
Okay. All right, so we're down to just a few more questions, but I think I need to ask you another. I have to kind of flip back to ask you this question. What was your most challenging moment with your track and field club, and what was your biggest moment? So what is it that you would have said that this year, this is the one thing that I wish I didn't have, or I wish it didn't go this way. And what was your biggest moment? It could be 10 athletes made the Olympic team. It could have been you went to Jamaica and you beat Usain Bolt or something.
You know what? Two that parallel each other, right? I don't know if it's my biggest or my most challenge, but two that come to mind. The first time we went to Jamaica to run at Gibson Relays, and our girls ran in the same heat as Homewood, and it was a very close race. And when we looked to see if we made the finals, they told us we came ninth.
Mm.
Saying, but your champion finished first, and we finished right behind them, and we're ninth, so we didn't make the finals. And when I went to the back to the hotel, I was devastated, right? Because we went on to Jamaica to do something, to show, to show our worth, right? So I felt very dejected. And then we trained the athletes, and then we went back. And a few years later, we went into the race, the class 1 girls, 4x1, and we gave them a run, man, in the finals.
Yeah.
And one named Sharika Jackson just come and nip us at the line, right? That, I would say, was one of the most rewarding things for me. Even though they didn't give us the win, it was very satisfying to see how we were able to go down there and perform, right? Knowing that we can stand on this track and we can be competitive. And that's all we wanted, right? We wanted a fair shot. We got a fair shot, and we were competitive. And I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that, yeah. Don't forget your roots. Don't forget your roots.
Never forget my roots. Yeah.
All right. So we're down to the last few questions. Coronavirus, right? We know that coronavirus is affecting the world, right? Things kind of tapering down a little bit now, right? How was coronavirus? How has coronavirus impacted your track club? And what are some of the financial constraint it has placed on athletes?
Boy, I tell you, Dennis, the coronavirus situation, for lack of a better word, I would say it mashed us up, man. As far as the development of our athletes, you probably know Canada was one of the strictest countries when it came to lockdowns, especially in Ontario here.
Yeah.
We were locked down for, I would say, about 90% of the time. And when we said lockdown, we're talking hard lockdown, where you couldn't be in groups of more than 4 or 5. And with such a big club that I had, I couldn't train the athletes, because I couldn't pick just 5 for me to go and work with. So we had to do some Zoom training and whatnot. And basically this lasted, we just opened back up when, in February? Yeah, end of January, February, right? Yeah. We just start back. And with that, some of the athletes, they lost their enthusiasm, right? Some of them put on weight, and, we have some challenges. But we're working back, we're fighting back to get back to where we were, right? Some of our top athletes who are now seniors in high school, before Corona hit, they were like freshmen in high school or just finishing their freshman year. And these were national champion type athletes. So to see them having to sit down for so long and, come back, it was hard, right? Emotionally, it was hard, right? Physically and all these other things we can work through that, right? We're going to get back, but I tell you, it was tough, right? But we as people, we're tough too, so we got through it, right? I think the toughest part was to look online and see people racing like in the States and doing their thing like nothing was going on, right? Meanwhile, we have to sit down here in the house and look out the window. Gyms, not even the gyms were open, nothing was open. So we just, and then it's not like we could just go down to the beach and run outside.
Yeah,
we have the winter, right?
So that put you guys at a disadvantage.
Very, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. All right. So, how can people help your program?
How they can help is just spreading the word. Just spreading the word. Our big international meet is coming up, right? Come on out, follow us. We're on social media, right? Follow us on social media, Instagram, YouTube, the whole works, Facebook and whatnot. And just if you know of any kids that's immigrating to Canada, spread the word that we're here, and get the youngsters to join us. Put your kids, even if you have children that just want to lose a little weight or get active or something, bring them up, put them in our programs, man. We have programs for that, right? So those are the ways that people can help. We're always looking for sponsors, right? I mean, most people don't realize we do all of this without much sponsorship, right? So we do our own in-house fundraising and things like that. But if business owners are out there and they want to support a grassroots club, this is the one to support, man.
Right. You have a very viable program. So why don't you give us the website or where they can find you? Because we know there might be, like you said, athletes might be coming up, let's say, from the Caribbean or from different countries who want to participate in track and field. They probably have been running there, and they come and they just want to continue. How can they find you? Is there a website other than social media? Is there a website that they can?
Yeah, go to flyingangels.ca. Flyingangels.ca.
Flying Angels S.
Yeah, Flying Angels with a S .ca as in Canada, C as in Canada, right? CA. You'll find us there, or just give us a phone, give us a call, right? WhatsApp, WhatsApp phone call if you're not in Canada is fine. You can call 416-562-0898 through WhatsApp, or send us a message and we'll get back to you.
Why don't you repeat that number? Repeat that number one more time.
The number 416-562-0898.
Okay, fantastic.
You can WhatsApp that. Yeah.
All right. So we come to the end of our podcast / YouTube / podcast. Earl, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk with us. Now we know a little bit about you. We know a little bit more about your club and what you do. And we just want to say wish you all the best. Thank you.
Dennis, thank you so much, man. It's good seeing again and through this venue, but I want to see you in person. So we're gonna link up soon, eh?
Absolutely.
And keep up the good work, man. You're doing some really good things. Keep doing it, okay? We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Take care.